All right, so uh, you're looking to work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Especially with all those PDFs everyone's always dealing with. And I think this is right up your alley.
Oh, yeah.
And so get this, we're diving into this tech review today about, well, it's all about Adobe Acrobat's new AI assistant.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it seems like Adobe is really, I think they're trying to revolutionize how we handle all these information-heavy documents, you know?
Well, it makes sense, though, right? I mean, even in 2025, PDFs are practically everywhere. I feel like they're essential, especially when you think about all the different professional fields.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's pretty smart of Adobe to focus on how to make them better.
Exactly. And this AI thing, it's not just some, like, far-off concept they're talking about.
Right.
It's available, like, right now.
Wow.
Built right into Adobe Acrobat and Reader.
Oh, wow.
Like, basically, they're giving you this super-powered research assistant that just lives right there in your sidebar.
Okay, so it uses AI.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. So how much is this going to cost?
We'll get this. For just a couple of bucks a month, on top of, whatever you're already paying, you get to tap into the power of GPT-4.
GPT-4.
Yeah, the same engine that's behind ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot.
Oh, okay, so like ChatGPT, but just within Acrobat?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could already upload PDFs to ChatGPT, but this is way more streamlined, especially for those of us who practically live in Acrobat all day long.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what's it actually like using it, though?
Well, the review says it's surprisingly user-friendly. You just open your PDF, click AI Assistant, and bam, there's your chatbot.
Oh, in a sidebar.
Yep, right in the sidebar.
Oh, okay.
And it even starts you off with a nice little summary of the whole document and suggests some questions you might want to ask.
So it's interactive.
Oh, yeah. So it's not just about, like, passively getting information. You actually get to have a conversation with this AI.
Wow. So you can ask it whatever you want.
Pretty much. And get this. It can handle some seriously hefty PDFs. We're talking up to 600 pages long. And it gets even better. If you're working on like a massive project, you can even throw up to 10 files at it at the same time.
Really? Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Right. Talk about a research powerhouse.
Yeah.
But, okay, I got to ask the question that's probably on everyone's mind.
What's that?
How do we actually know if what this AI is telling us is legit?
Right.
With all this AI stuff going around, there's always that worry, like, is it making things up?
Well, you're right to be a little cautious.
Yeah.
But the review mentioned something that I thought was really, really important.
Okay.
Adobe Acrobat's AI assistant actually tells you where it's pulling its info from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It lists the specific page and source. Can you imagine trying to dig through hundreds of pages yourself to find that one little detail?
Oh, forget about it. That would be a nightmare.
Right. So basically, they've built in this fact checker. You don't have to blindly trust what the AI says. You can double check it yourself.
So you can go right back to the source and be like, uh-huh, I knew it.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So we've got summarizing, questioning, fact-checking. Is there anything this thing can't do?
Well, they didn't just stop there.
I know.
Nope. They've also gone ahead and integrated Adobe Firefly, their AI for image generating.
Oh, yeah, Firefly.
So you can be working on your PDF and you suddenly need a visual. You can just right-click and boom, Firefly can generate and insert images for you, or even swap out existing ones.
Wow. Hold on, this is getting a little mind-blowing.
I know. It's crazy.
So it's way beyond just reading PDFs now. We're talking about, like, interacting with them on a whole other level.
Right.
This is really interesting.
Yeah, and it seems like this is Adobe's whole strategy here. They're not just randomly throwing AI features around and seeing what sticks.
Right.
They're actually really carefully weaving AI into the apps that people are already using every day.
Like integrating it into the workflow.
Exactly. And they're doing it in a way that feels really smooth and intuitive. Like you don't have to be a tech genius to figure it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Make it easy to use. So it's all about like simplifying our workflows and making us, work smarter, not harder.
That's the big picture, yeah. And you know what else? They're also addressing a huge concern for a lot of people, especially companies dealing with, sensitive information.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Adobe is really emphasizing data privacy, especially for their enterprise customers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they're being very clear about how they're not using your company's confidential data to train these AI models.
So no worries about company secrets ending up in some, like, AI training data set somewhere.
Exactly.
Okay, phew, good to know. So they're taking a safe and smart approach. But this all feels like just the beginning. What's next for AI in Acrobat?
Well, from what I gathered in this review, it looks like Adobe is thinking way, way beyond what we're seeing right now.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, they're talking about things like AI-powered authoring, editing, and formatting, stuff like that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Are we talking about AI that can actually, like, write and format our PDFs for us?
That definitely seems like the direction things are heading.
Wow.
And they're even looking into AI-powered collaboration features, so you could have the AI analyze feedback and then suggest changes. Imagine the time that could save when you're, working on a document with a bunch of different people.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, especially for, like, lawyers. All those legal documents.
Right.
Researchers. Those massive scientific papers.
Yes, yeah.
Even students, like, struggling with those gigantic textbooks. AI could totally revolutionize, like, research and analysis in ways we haven't even thought of yet.
Totally. I mean, imagine being able to ask your AI assistant, like, hey, pull out the main arguments from this legal case, or summarize the findings from these research papers. It's like having, a whole team of research assistants working for you 24/7.
It's like magic.
It is.
And it's not just about, like, saving time. Right?
Yeah.
The AI could help us see things, connections, and insights that we might totally miss as humans.
Absolutely. Like having a superpowered research partner, right? Someone to help you connect those dots, to think more critically about the information.
Right, like a second brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
We've talked about all the good stuff, the potential benefits, but are there any downsides, any concerns we should be aware of as AI starts to, become more and more involved with our PDFs?
That's a really good question. I mean, just like any powerful tool, right?
But
AI has to be used responsibly
for sure.
and thoughtfully. One potential pitfall, I think, is over-reliance. It's really easy to fall into this habit of just accepting everything the AI tells you without actually using, like, our own critical thinking skills.
So we got to make sure we're not just letting the AI do all the thinking for us.
Exactly.
We still need to be, active in the process, questioning, analyzing, coming to our own conclusions.
Right. And it's also important to remember, right, this review is all about Adobe Acrobat.
Right.
But what about all the other PDF software out there? Will they be jumping on the AI bandwagon too?
That's a really good point. It seems like AI is popping up everywhere, all sorts of software. So is it safe to say that AI and PDFs, it's not just an Adobe thing?
It's a good question. I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
The tech world moves so fast these days.
It really does.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing, AI features popping up in other PDF readers pretty soon.
Yeah, it seems like the next logical step.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to you, the listener, the question we should all be asking ourselves is, how might these changes, with AI and PDFs, how might they affect your work, your industry, your profession?
Right. Think about the possibilities for, anyone who works with tons of information, researchers, lawyers. AI could change, like fundamentally change the way we approach research, analysis, even decision making.
It's a big deal.
It is. And it's not just about those specific jobs, right? Think about students, educators, even everyday folks just trying to figure out some complicated document. AI has the potential to make information more accessible, to help everyone understand and engage with complex topics.
So it's a potential win for everyone.
Potentially, yeah. It's a fascinating time,
It is.
to watch this all unfold, how AI is changing the tools we use every day. And this Adobe Acrobat AI assistant, I think it's a perfect example.
It's wild to think, like, we're at this point where AI is becoming a part of our daily lives. And now it's even changing how we interact with PDFs. It's exciting, but it's also a little bit like, whoa, what's next?
It's kind of like, remember when the internet first became like a big thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's that same feeling of, wow, this is amazing, but also kind of scary. Like, what does this mean for the future?
Absolutely. A mix of excitement and anxiety all rolled into one.
Exactly. And I think with AI, it's the same deal. We're in this transition period, There's that sense of wonder, but also some apprehension.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like with the internet, I think it's really important to be, like, critical but also open-minded about AI.
Be cautious but optimistic.
Exactly. We need to think about the limitations, how we choose to use it, all that.
Okay, so let's bring it back to this Adobe Acrobat AI assistant. We've covered a lot, but for our listeners, what's the one thing you really want them to take away from all this?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is that Adobe is really taking this seriously. They're not just adding some AI stuff just because it's trendy.
Right, they're not just slapping it on.
No, not at all. They're really thinking about it, weaving AI into how Acrobat works, making it user-friendly, simplifying things, and making sure our data is safe.
So it's not just about, like, making PDFs smarter. It's about making us smarter about how we use them.
Yes, exactly. Empowering users, making us more efficient, helping us find those deeper insights, and ultimately, helping us get more done. And like we talked about, this is really just the beginning. We're going to see a lot more, and it's going to be even more powerful and innovative, both with Acrobat and other PDF software.
It's almost like a little overwhelming to think about where it could all go. But I'm hopeful,
Right.
I think AI has the potential to really make our work lives better.
Yeah.
And if it's done right, it can free us up to focus on the things that really need, like our human touch, our creativity.
I agree. And I think it's really important for us, the users, to remember that we have a role to play in how all this unfolds. We got to keep asking those tough questions.
Like what?
Like about transparency, about accountability as these AI tools keep developing. And, we have to talk about what it all means, make sure it benefits everyone.
That's a really good point. Well, as we wrapped up this deep dive, I think it's worth leaving our listeners with a final thought. We've talked about how AI is changing PDFs. But what about everything else? How might it change the way we interact with all sorts of information down the road?
That's a great question to ponder. And, as you explore this new world of AI, I'd say approach it with curiosity, but keep thinking critically. And remember, there's a lot of possibility out there. The future's coming, and we're all part of shaping it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in.
Of course, thanks for having me.